Hi, friends. Welcome back. My name is IJ,
I'm Dior.
and today's recap is Put a Ring on It, Season 2, Episode 8. And what an episode it was.
Yes.
Was it tearful for you?
Yeah, I did cry.
You did?
Yeah. I
Oh,
felt so
wow.
bad for her.
I felt bad for Lexi, but I feel like she knew what was going on all along, all these years.
Yeah, but like she said, she didn't have proof. I think it's just something different to have that confirmation, have it
Right,
like him actually admit to it.
right,
And then you have to, I guess, come to terms with all the suspicions that you had that like this clearly isn't the first time. And I feel like
right.
you still try to make it seem like it was the first time, but no, because why would you do it for the first time when you are filming? You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't
How
even
would you
make sense.
call it, the love bug or the love shack or whatever he called it, you know?
Yeah.
No. And it's not just him using it, it's his friends and so forth using that place.
Mhm.
And we said that we were not going to just concentrate just on them because there are
No,
other couples, but we came straight up into it right away.
because
Now,
it's important. Like, I mean, I think everyone was waiting for this episode, one to confirm that, he cheated. I didn't have any doubt whether or not he cheated
I was
because
praying that he hadn't cheated, but because on national TV, come on now, you couldn't keep it together? That don't make any sense. Uh, but I want to say one thing. There was a couple of things that Dr. Nicole said that I thought was really, really insightful because we all do this. We like to sweep things under the rug, right?
but let's just start with the beginning of the episode because that's when they continued their conversation.
Okay, let's
Like
begin.
Kai and Darion.
So you want to go with Kai and Darion first. You don't want to
That's how the
okay.
show started. So I think
Okay, all
get
right.
right into
So we'll get through all of Kai and Darion, then we'll hit through the other couples because we do like to do it segment by segment. All right. So in the beginning, like I didn't want to turn it on because I didn't want my bubble to be popped and be sad. But like she was composed throughout the whole thing. Even when she was crying, it was still composed. I
You're
guess by the
still
time
not,
we
you're
saw,
still skipping ahead. So
no, I'm talking about the whole entire episode. She was just composed.
she was,
I wouldn't,
let's start with Kai and Darion finishing their conversation.
you think they needed to finish that conversation?
No, they did finish it at the
I
beginning.
know, but did they need to?
Yeah, because like, first of all, Kai, I mean, Darion, it didn't seem like he felt very remorseful about doing it. I mean, he
That's
even said like, yeah, it was
I
it was right at the time or something like that. Like, what?
that's why I said, did they need to even have the conversation? I felt that it was a waste of her time. She was looking for some closure, some justification for why he was doing what he was doing, but he couldn't give it. It was a waste of her time. It was not needed. Did you hear what he said? I like to win. I don't like to lose. What does that have to
Which
do with the
section are you talking
situation?
about? You're talking about with between Darion and Alexion. I'm talking
I'm talking
about
about,
he didn't.
oh, you're talking about with what's her name? Oh, all right. If you must, go ahead.
So in the beginning with Kai and Darion, where they like picked up from last week's episode,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just finally has to admit that he cheated. It sounded like it happened more than once because she said the second time in that place.
I think like it's like the next day.
Oh, the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was because he was having issues with Alexia. So it's like, oh, is that what you do every time you have issues with her? I mean, you guys seem to have
Yeah.
a pretty rocky relationship. So, and I don't know why Kai thought that she was gonna find more. Like you said, she was a side piece, clearly, because he picked Alexia over Kai. And so the sad thing is, I think that Kaya probably still keeps sleeping with him. Like now that Alexia is out the picture, which we're jumping ahead though, I think she'll keep sleeping with him. She tried
Um,
to say that, she wishes them the best. But I mean, first of all, you revealed this on cameras for a reason. You wanted to destroy that relationship, And if you
I
respected the relationship, if you respected this process, you wouldn't have went over to his house, to his condo when he asked you to.
I don't expect her to behave any other way than what's best for her. I believe that she did this not because she was attracted to him, but to get TV time for her business. She's doing what's best for her because any bad publicity, good publicity, it's better than no publicity. So now she has people on her page because after dating somebody 4 times, and these are not long dates, that him having sex with you is because he wants to have sex because you're a new toy. I've said this before. She can have sex with him. She will be the side chick. She can, but nothing that's going to come out of it. And for her, and she wasn't even upset. You notice? She kept touching him, doing a high five thing and so forth. Give me your hand. You don't do that to somebody that you're upset with, somebody that's pushed you off on the side that you really care for. That's why I wasn't buying that whole entire thing. She knew exactly what her place is, what she's built for, her mentality, and that's that. That's why I didn't really want to even bring her name up in this because she was just a symbol of what he's been doing all this time.
Yeah.
When things get boring, when things get stressful with her, he goes off and he cheats. So that's all that girl was. And so she's just a symbol. And I believe that Lexi knew in the back of her head, that's what she was afraid of. The more he goes out with her, the closer he's going to become, and bam, he's going to have sex with her. I mean, I guess all the girls and all the guys are afraid that would happen to them.
And so, we find out she goes and by she, I mean, Lexi goes and talks to Dr. Nicole, and we found out that when he came back from the closure date is when he told Lexi that he cheated with, or he slept with Kai after the 4th date.
He didn't have a choice. She'd already said it on TV.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's why he did it. That's
why he did it. I mean, nobody cheats, and then, hardly anybody that I would know or cheats and comes back. Hey, honey, I just got done cheating. Just want to let you know. You all right with it? Is it all right? Good. No, he went to get caught.
Well, yeah, he didn't just cheat though. I mean, it had happened more than 10 days ago. So, but I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. I mean,
what? Here's the manipulation thing. Christian, can you read your gaslighting definition really quick?
Oh yeah. So what we decided that Darion is a gaslighter. He definitely gaslit Alexia during the whole relationship. And I know this is a term that I think people have used more frequently in the past couple of years. So in case you're not familiar with the term gaslighting, it's a colloquialism for a specific type of manipulation where the manipulator is successful in having the target, in this case, it would be Alexia, question their own reality, memory, or perceptions. There's often a power dynamic in gaslighting where the targets are vulnerable because they are fearful of losses associated with challenging the manipulator. Gaslighting is not necessarily malicious or intentional, although in some cases it is. So in the case where, she accused him of doing something nefarious in the condo, and he's just telling her that she's, she's making things up, and he's just, he got tired, and, he's just hanging out there with his friends, and he needed to go to the condo because things are stressful between their relationship, making it seem like she's completely crazy for thinking that something is going on, that he's messing with other women there when he is,
Okay, but this goes in deeper than that. Okay, let's really dig into this, people. Lexi met him at the age of 19, when you're flowering, becoming a woman, you're setting your mind up. She met him at the age of 19, and then for the next 14 years, they had an on and off relationship where he had other women and he had 3 kids. Okay, then we bring it to now. He's not ready to get married. He doesn't want to get married right now. We all are aware of that. And what does he do with Lexi? He uses the gaslighting term. And I want you guys to understand, Dior said, it is a manipulator that has power. And he does have power over her. She was 19 when they met. He is like what, 10 years older than her? 12 years, something like
I
that.
think she's like 30. She's probably 33 now. He's 41. I looked that up. So
Yeah.
a little
So
less
he's
than 10,
yeah,
7
he's an
years.
older man that was really popular back in the day, was used to he was used to having women manipulate women. And so now he's with her. Yeah, he may love her and so forth, but he set her up for a fall. And he thought that by setting her up with these 10 days of happiness, after he knew after he slept with what's her name, he knew it was going to come out eventually. It's going to come out because this is a TV show. So before he brought it to her attention, he gave her happiness.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Remember?
he said it. He
set it
told
up.
her. He told her basically, I'm trying to manipulate you. I wanted you to feel better about, everything about the place that we're in. I wanted to let you know that I was going to give up the condo that I slept with this girl in.
Right.
Before,
so he set her up, and because of her mindset from such a young age of being with him, she has seen. Dr. Nicole said, in order to sweep something under the rug, you have had to have seen it, because you just don't sweep under. You have to have seen it and noticed it, but don't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So Darion is used to Lexi sweeping things under the rug, mm-hmm. in her mind, making it okay, mm-hmm. because she doesn't want. They might get in fights, they might scream at each other and so forth, but she never challenges him, into the fact of, you know what, you do it again, we're done.
I think the thing is for her, it was that she didn't actually have the proof. She didn't have, she didn't go out, no. She had intuition and everything like that. But I think she felt like because she didn't have proof.
She didn't want the proof. She didn't want the proof. If you want the proof, you'll get the proof, honey. If you want the proof, you will get the proof. You will go and find the proof.
But I think part of his manipulation is that she felt like, okay, well, if I don't trust him, like he made her feel like, if you don't trust me, he probably said things like, if you don't trust me, then, why are we even doing this? She was manipulated the whole time. And I think she was so young.
She allowed him. She didn't love, and Dr. Nicole, she didn't love herself enough to put herself first.
I think she never even probably knew herself because she was so young when she got into this relationship with him.
And did Darion know himself? He knew what he wanted. Darion, he knew what he wanted. Dr. Nicole, I felt like, gave him an easy out. But I think because I think she just feels like, which I think is right. Sometimes making people have confrontations with each other, it doesn't solve anything.
And I don't think she should have, but I think she should have had a one-on-one conversation with him and let him know that you're a toxic man. You know what I'm saying? That
she did, because she said, what do you have to tell her? Go ahead and tell her I'm here. I feel like they had a conversation, but we didn't get to see it because
someone should have confronted him. All these other men knew. Yeah, he's toxic.
Yeah, he is toxic. I didn't like him from the very beginning. I told you, I did not like him. But when he got on his hands and knees to say sorry, I was like, if you don't get your black ass up.
I'm sorry, you couldn't have even talked to me. She was over there and then she's like, oh, this is the first time I saw him tear up. And I was just like, what are you doing, Lexi?
I know. No, when she reached out to wipe his tears, I went like this. I was like, I tell you, you're not there. So going like this isn't going to do nothing. I want to slap her hand and get your hands off his face.
Dr. Nicole should have did that. She should have been like, Lexi, no. Let them cry. If these are even real tears.
Right. But what else did Dr. Nicole said about him? That he's a child. He's immature, because as he's trying to build something like a kid, and kids do that. They build something, they knock it down. It's not until they get older do they really begin to build things, because they understand adding this will make it bigger and better. And when she said that, I was like, wow.
Self-sabotage.
It is self-sabotage.
But and you wasted, he just completely wasted the
her
14
14.
years of her life, you know?
Well, he was out having sex with other women. He didn't waste his time. He had a place to sleep, somebody to take care of him, somebody to give him hugs and kisses when he needed something.
Mm-hmm.
But here she is 14 years later, no kids, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He already had a family. He already had kids.
Several
3.
families.
But you know what? I sat back and I thought, IJ, don't be so hard on this girl, because she's thinking to herself, she's been conditioned. Just like, our minds, I read this article last week that our minds are conditioned to follow a pathway. We condition our minds. So for some people's minds, you're conditioned to walk to the refrigerator, get something to eat or drink, then come back to your computer. Some people's minds are conditioned to get up. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. I'm going to work out. You have to push your mind to act a certain way and take it. And it's hard and you feel uncomfortable to make it do something that's totally different than what you're not, that neural pathway that you're used to going. Her neural pathway is protect my heart, protect my soul by letting things happen that I don't want to happen, but going ahead and dealing with it because of that fear. And after 14 years, it's just like, do I give up 14 years of my life?
I think it's why it's so important, because it's hard to like change. Like if you don't know anything different, it's hard to like change your behaviors, change your mindset, change your actions. That's why I think it's really important for people to go to therapy like earlier in life, so that they don't find themselves in these like going down this path and not really knowing how to, not having the tools to like make the best decisions for themselves. Especially for women, like, well, men too. I think men need therapy probably a lot more than women, and women probably wouldn't need therapy as much if men
would learn to behave.
Yeah, or men went to therapy to address whatever issues they have from childhood or whatever issues they have. I mean, I just think that it's important for people to go through individual therapy, so that they could just be a better person for themselves and for anybody they want to bring into a relationship.
Yeah, because Dr. Nicole, today she was just dropping some gems on us. She said half a person and another half a person does not make a whole person.
Yeah, and the whole person so right. Before you go into a relationship.
And ladies, 14 years is a long time, but 14 years plus 1 day is too much time.
I think let's to go back to the half a person. I think, a lot of people, when you get married, they say your better half, or when you're in a relationship, they refer to people your better half. And I think people have this idea that, another person makes you a whole, and I think so. I think it was important that she made that point that you have to be a whole person, and you can't look for someone else to make you whole, because I think a lot of people don't know that for whatever reason. They don't know that, and we refer to being in relationships as being half of a person before you're in a relationship. When we say your better half,
Yeah, but in a relationship, I think when people are saying that, I also think that they're saying we're coming together as one. And that's why half plus half equals 1. But I think that Dr. Nicole, in her infinite wisdom, which before I didn't really know if I liked Dr. Nicole or not, but now I understand she can be a hard A, when she needs to be. I think that she's just wanting us to be mentally strong and love ourselves and know who we are before we jump into a relationship and expect that person to tow the bridge, tow the boat. And because it's not going to work out, they're eventually going to get tired. And Lexi finally got tired. She finally got tired.
I'm glad that, they exited.
We don't know that though. We don't know that.
They did exit the experiment.
They did? They did?
Yeah, that's why she came by herself to that meeting.
Okay, I thought that it was just this session she was coming by herself.
No, they're no longer continuing in this experiment, or whatever you want to call it, this experience. So they did exit it. We don't know as far as like how long she let, she kicked him out the house for. We don't know.
If they're back together, we don't know any of that.
Yeah, we don't know that. I didn't really like that she was waiting for him to finish his conversation with Darion before she
But maybe
left.
they needed closure. Maybe they needed closure outside of the camera. But I would have just walked away and stood outside away from the camera so it didn't look like I was waiting for him. But you know what? I still can't get over the fact that when he was on his hands and knees for her and doing his boo-hooing, not that he sounded like he was crying, but did you hear the words that came out of his mouth?
It was about him. All of it was
all about him.
Yeah. I mean, he admitted that. The thing is like, he's very aware that he's self-serving in everything that he's done in his relationship, everything that
he's a what do they call it? People that just love them.
Narcissist. He is a narcissist. Yeah.
Because everything's about him. Nothing was about her. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't want to lose. I always win.
You need to take the time for you. Like, he didn't say like, I want you to take whatever time you need it. He was just like, yeah, I want her to find herself and still like, be with me.
He's like, where am I? He's not, I'm not used. He doesn't have, and I'm sure you have somewhere to go. I'm sure you can.
Oh, you have your condo because you haven't gotten rid of it yet.
And he was never going to get rid of it. Not his love shack. No. So, and he said
it was just so hurtful.
He was embarrassed. Did you hear him? He said, I'm embarrassed that this happened, that I didn't.
I'm not putting a ring on her finger. You could have put a ring on her finger 10 years ago.
Yeah, you should be embarrassed to cheat on national TV.
Mm-hmm.
What I did, and then she goes, I'm still a boss. No, honey, you were never a boss. You weren't. Bosses don't have to say, I'm a boss. And you know that they're a boss when you walk. When
both Kai and her use that term to describe themselves. Kai said the same thing about herself. She's a boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a boss. I'm a boss bitch. I hate when people say that. I'm just like, oh, are you really? Okay. All right. No, you don't have to say you're a boss. People know you're a boss because when they meet you, they feel that energy off of you. You're not a boss when you're letting yourself get manipulated over and over and over. I don't care. Women know when they're being manipulated. Mm-hmm. Women know when they're unhappy. Mm-hmm. Men know when they're unhappy. Mm-hmm. Men know when something's going on. You have an inkling, but you let it go because right now it's good and it's okay. So she knew all along. She just maybe didn't know how to process it and how to deal with it. And Dr. Nicole helped her process it and deal with it. And then plus this time it was like slap in the face.
Yeah, I mean, it's on camera. So it's like, okay, you really have to do something about this.
So maybe this process does work. It showed her why he wasn't ready to be married because his little dingaling wasn't ready to settle down. Is sex that important that you would destroy somebody? You couldn't wait for the show to be over to hook up with Kai? You couldn't wait. You're that self-centered that you couldn't wait for the show to be over to go do your mess or call one of your other bitches to do your mess with that's not on TV. You had to do it with her. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's not right.
I'm sad that she, got publicly embarrassed, but I'm
humiliated.
I'm happy.
Not embarrassed, humiliated.
Yeah.
She's a boss, so it's okay.
I'm happy though that it happened and that she's able to move forward and she's able to hopefully, take some time to get to know herself and find someone, hopefully that she won't deal with this, she won't allow another man to put her through this type of
situation.
I think she needs to get therapy. She needs to get.
I hope that the therapy is with Dr. Nicole.
Needs to be with somebody.
Yeah, because it needs to be somebody who can help her understand. Because, Dr. Nicole, I have she handled Darion so well throughout the whole thing. She was calm with him. Didn't buy into his bullshit. Because sometimes when people talk, you want to believe them. She didn't buy into his bullshit and so forth. And it's like she was hearing me when I was like, he's lying. He's an asshole. He's a manipulator. He's a manipulator. I mean, I saw that right off the bat. I just didn't think that he would do what he did on national
So I
TV.
went on his Instagram and I was just very disappointed in what I saw.
But what did you see?
He posted like it was just like some text, and it said, "Be careful who you fuck good."
What? Say it again.
Be careful of who you fuck good.
Oh, because
Referencing
he
Kai.
fucked what's her name so good that's why she's still on him.
I mean, that just sounds like you just have no remorse for what you did. Like you making a joke out of it. Even though, like, just before we came on to film this, I was watching an interview with Marlon Wayans on the Breakfast Club, and apparently there was some cheating scandal with him, and he was just talking about how he like makes it, the situation comedic, and he said that like when I guess it was like he got caught on a boat with other women, and he was like, when he was telling his wife, he was just like, well, you don't like to go on boats, so that's why I had to take her. If you like to go, this would have never happened. And he also said, they only, there were other women there. He said that he said this to her and that she laughed. And I was just like, what kind of, I don't know if they're still together or whatnot, but he was just like, he made it, and he just kind of made it into a comedic situation. But he felt bad about it, but it didn't sound like, if you're making a joke out of it, it doesn't sound like you feel bad about it in any way. So
he didn't cheat on her. He just went on a boat ride with another woman.
no, I think he cheated on her. I mean, you're not
Well,
going on a
you know
boat.
what? You don't like to do it doggy style, so I had to find somebody else that liked to do it doggy style. There were other people there, so I did it to them too. So we're all good. That don't make any sense.
I just feel so sad about the world that we live in. Like, I don't even know. It's just really sad,
But there is good out there. And I do want to say this though, just because, okay, when you're not married and your significant other cheats, does it mean that you should throw everything away? Maybe not. Maybe go to counseling, find out why they cheated, find out what went wrong. There's always more than one way to deal with situations, right? And I'm not saying for Kai, we're not saying like, because he cheated, dump him because he cheated this time. No, it's because he's shown a legacy of cheating, not having commitment, and manipulation.
He's still trying to make it seem like this is the only time he cheated. He said, I was so proud of so proud of like not having been with women in the conduct.
I know. When I heard that, I was just like,
believe that the one time in the 14 years that you would do this is when you were on camera and this woman was part of a show where it could potentially come out. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe that that's the one time that you would do this.
So that's why we're saying leave his ass, because of his past transgressions, and he's not going to change as a human being. He will continue this way.
He's 41 years old. And he has not had a desire to change before now. And everything he said has been about him. So he's not going to change to better himself for you because he doesn't care about you that much.
Right. But I think there's strength too for Lexi, and I think this is a beautiful moment in her life. It's hurtful for right now, but once the pain subsides, it can be a beautiful moment of not just finding yourself, but reinventing your whole life and your future, having that power to make decisions that you want to make based on your love for yourself and what's best for Lexi. And there's no way that you can make another person happy if you're not happy yourself. And so that's why I think it's like when my husband says, hey, we have to move to a new city. Like when we had to leave Mason, Ohio, I was devastated because it was our house. It was our dream house, you know, living our dream neighborhood in our dream school system and stuff like that. But it was time to move to the state of Wyoming. And where it was like 0.0006% Black. But then he said to me, it's a new start. We had to do it for his work. And I was just like, yeah, it is a new start. I can like decide like how I'm going to make things, create things, change my ways I do things and so forth. So for Lexi, I hope she takes this moment in time to, after the pain subsides and the hurt goes down, that she's able to like start afresh, because she's still young and she's beautiful. And she's active and she has friends. I don't know, that guy that supported her for 8 years that's in love with her might look his way. You know, yeah, I mean, like she has this opportunity. I think it's great. Sometimes I want to start all over. You didn't hear that. But you know, yeah, I do love my husband, everybody. He is a good person. But no, I think for her and for Darion, I don't think he's going to change. Let it go.
Let's just move on from that situation. So when she did go into the group session to tell everyone about what happened, the person I felt like I saw the most like emotion from about it was Eric. Like he just, I don't know, like he looked, I don't know, like I couldn't really read him, but he just kind of,
I felt like he related to her. Remember, he's still in pain.
Eric?
Yeah. Remember, Jessica cheated on him.
Oh. But I thought he did on her too, no?
No, at the beginning of him and Jessica's relationship, Jessica knew he was with other women. He made that clear to her.
So they weren't like exclusive.
No.
Okay.
No, they weren't exclusive. Jessica knew. But she stayed with him even though she knew he was with other women. Till finally he was ready to be on his own just with her. And then when he was going through a tough time and he really needed her, she cheated on him.
Okay.
And so to him, he probably, and that was just like a couple of years ago, to him, probably not even a couple of years ago, really, because they've only been together for what, a couple of years ago? So to him, yeah. So to him, it's just like, he probably felt the pain. And that probably brought back memories. But I just have a quick question. Where are these people's kids? Where are their kids at? Because we never see their kids. They probably tell their kids not to be there when they're taping, right?
I mean, I don't think we're supposed to see them, you know, like it's not.
Yeah, but like there's nothing there that says they have kids. I would have thought that they didn't have kids.
Yeah, I mean, I do think their kids are older. I don't know. I'm curious as to whether Jessica's daughters live with them.
That's what I'm wondering.
But I mean, I think her children are older. Like I think she has like a teenager and a 10-year-old or something like that. I think her children are, you know, old enough to be out the way and not have little infant and toddler toys all over.
Oh yeah. I'm just curious. Like for some reason I always think of them as single. But really quick, because I know we don't have much time, people, and we're sorry for taking this so long, but I think that Jessica and Eric, when they were talking about what they want in a marriage, I think that was significant. He wanted a child still. And she is dead set against it. Dead set against it.
Yeah, but that was what was weird to me, because when they had that conversation, yeah, it was very clear she didn't want any more children. She, you know, she felt like she had raised her children. She's ready for them to be at the house. It's like that meme going around where people are like, you know, I don't know, they had their, you know, people were criticizing them when they had their children young, but now they're in their 40s and they're free. Like there's a meme on social media going around like that. So I'm
free.
I think that's how she felt. But the thing is, when they sat down though, she kind of made it seem like it wasn't that she didn't want to have another child, but she wanted to get married first, because she kind of made it seem like there's an order for this process. But that wasn't clear to me when they had the conversation earlier. So I don't know what it is that.
When they had the conversation earlier, he said, hey, don't we have a project to do for Miss Nicole on the marriage.
Yeah. And she
then,
said,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, but I think you definitely can't get married until you are clear on what you want, because if you get married and then, you know, now you're like, oh no, I know I said that I would have a child, but now I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like now you're in this committed relationship and you have to figure out like what, yeah, they have a lot of work they need to do to figure
They
out.
have a lot of work to do to figure it out. And the fact for Mother's Day, he didn't celebrate her on Mother's Day or do anything.
Weird, because then he was like, you know, he said something about like, well, the next Mother's Day, I know what to do. But this is not the first Mother's Day that y'all have been together. So that was really weird.
My Mother's Day was ruined. So I can tell you for one thing, it stays in the back of my mind. And my husband knows next Mother's Day better be just like banging. So yeah, when she goes, you ruined my Mother's Day, I was like, brought back memories. But no, so those two couple, and then she went out with that guy. He seems like he's so into her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Already talking about their kids meeting. She's like, you want me to meet your kids already? He's like, yeah, it's too early. That guy wanted a kiss. He was all leaned in.
Thing is, she wasn't moving backwards. She wasn't like, she was about to see what he was gonna do.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know, but let's just, I mean, it is what it is. She's attracted to him. He's attracted to her. We don't know what that means.
Let's talk a little bit about Sean and Laronda.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are kind of more in tune with what they want. It's clear that they probably had these discussions before. And really, I mean, the biggest discrepancy they had in what they wanted, like that they communicated here, was on the wedding itself, which is not important. Like, don't put
it is, because if you can't afford it, then don't have it.
Yeah, don't put so much energy in the wedding, because the wedding doesn't determine what the marriage is, and you know,
it sure doesn't. And you know, you don't need to have
what you want out of a marriage before you even think about putting in a wedding, because you could always do like recommitment ceremonies later, or like, you know, whatever, if you make it that far. So
right, I think it was great that they both were on the same wavelength, maybe not the same path, but the same wavelength when it came to kids.
7 kids.
Girl, I was just like, let me turn this off real quick, because I don't know what the hell. I mean, 7 kids nowadays is expensive. Like, what the?
4 is a lot.
Yeah, 2 is like what it should be nowadays. That's all people can really afford, to give your kids a good life. About 2 kids, daycare and everything. But you know what? He is a stay-at-home kind of.
And she said that she wanted to adopt at least 2. He was in line with that. I mean, I feel like they pretty much kind of know what they want. And I don't think that, that when they communicated it, it was very respectful,
Yeah, they I don't
took into consideration what each other wanted, and they're willing to compromise. So
right.
Yeah. They talked about divorce, like what they see as far as divorces go. And I think they both, really feel like it's important to put in the work to make the marriage work. But I think, there comes a point where if the relationship is too toxic, I think they're both saying that, like,
you have to go your own way.
Stay in a marriage that isn't healthy. That no one's working on, that either one of them is not willing to put the energy into, because you can't work on a marriage by yourself. It's not a one person thing. So there does come a point where you have to just draw the line and say, like, we're not both working on this. One of us is not working on it, or both of us are not working on it. It's not going to get better if we're not going to commit to it, and I'm not happy, or we're both not happy. We do have to maybe think about divorce. But it sounds like they're both willing to compromise and work on it. So I don't think it would even maybe get to that point for them, hopefully. Because she was basically like, she doesn't really want to not talk about it, but she's going into the marriage with the idea that there would not be a divorce.
And people should go into the marriage with the idea that there's not going to be a divorce, because then why marry?
But it's one thing to say like, oh no, we're never going to get divorced, but I'm also not going to work on things to make it better.
Right. Totally agree.
Not just like, oh no, we're never going to get a divorce, but I'm not going to put any effort into it. There's a lot that goes into saying like, no, I don't believe in divorce, but it means that I believe in working on the marriage so that we don't get to that point,
Right.
It's just a lot more than those words,
Yeah. So this was a good session. This was a good episode.
Yeah.
I thought it was an episode where we got to see more. Usually it's just surface level, but this time it was a deeper. I want to say thank you to Dr. Nicole for helping. Oh, because it could have gone so left. Married at First Sight. This is probably whatever Dr. Nicole was doing was what you guys needed to do for what was her name?
Paige.
She helped Lexi see the light.
But the thing is though, it makes sense as to why it was harder for Lexi. It didn't make no damn sense why Paige, you don't know this guy.
It made no sense whatsoever.
When we woke up and like after we had sex the night before and that morning, and you left for a few hours and then you come back and say like, I don't find you attractive. And I only had sex with you to see if, maybe that could make me more attracted to you. I think that would have been the last time, I would have been like, here's my mic. Did y'all send those papers off? Because we don't even need to continue with this. There was no way I would have continued with that. That was crazy.
You could have had an annulment. But you didn't. Instead, you chose to. And if I wouldn't be surprised if they're still together. Not that I care.
Well, I don't think they would be still together, but maybe still married. Girl, anyway.
I know we got to end this session because it has gone way over, everyone.
Yeah, so we look forward to the next episode because, Lexi's still there. She's going to talk to the ladies. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more of how she's been processing this since she came to know about, Darion's infidelity. So, I think, I hurt for her that, she had to go through all of this on the show, but I think it's good to show a different dynamic because we didn't see that in the last season. We didn't see anyone, step out or admit to stepping out during the process. So I think it does show a little bit, it does show a different, dynamic in the process. So I look
forward. And not everything is happy, hunky-dory.
Yeah, and that's life.
Yeah, that's life.
So thank you guys for joining me. Please, if you think differently, if you have a different opinion on what we said, please comment. We really love seeing
we will respond to your comments, people, because Dior and I have our opinions and we love to tell our opinions, but we want to hear yours too.
Yeah, because I think, sometimes we miss things or we don't see things the same way. Even between the two of us. So definitely comment. If you like what we're saying, please subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you can, get our latest videos. And until next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.